ApeCoin staking, I think it's garbage. The NFT Q4 bull run, it's off. There's a whole lot more that we're going to go over within the session that is about to follow. This is from a Twitter space, so I want to let you know this is audio. If you're wanting to save it, like the video, of course, but save it for a time when you're needing something to listen to, whether you're out driving, whether you're out mowing the lawn. It's winter, I guess, depending on where you are, so you're probably not going to do that. Or if you're going to the gym and need some kind of component to listen to that's NFT based. This is going to be a very in-depth conversation. It starts out with me and Squiddy, and then JVB, Boomer, and Jazz Sooner end up joining. Quick little background. Squiddy is a part of Champions Ascension, which is a blockchain gaming company overall called Jam City, and they talk about it a fair bit within this, so just kind of keep that in mind. And further to that, Jazz Sooner, lovely gentleman who I've known for quite a bit within the NFT space, gives some perspectives here and there, but also loves doing the dishes. Keck W, find out when we get to that point. Boomer, who is a founder of Life Force Games, very successful entrepreneur overall, and very well connected in terms of just being a part of a whole bunch of different things within the NFT space, and I love hearing his perspective. And in addition to that, we have JVB, who is the guest that we've had pretty much every single Tuesday. And if you're wanting to come and listen, don't forget next Tuesday and every Tuesday at 4 p.m. EST, we run these spaces, and JVB is running for the ApeCoin Council, so we are rooting for him over there. But he's got a lot of experience with different things as well, especially working within esports, and we dive into the fact of blockchain gaming. Will it save esports? Might be an interesting answer. I hope you guys enjoy this session, and I'll see you soon. Peace, peace. Yeah, if you're listening to the playback on this, you're an absolute goat, and I'm going to have to stall for a minute while we bring up some different stuff. We're going to go over a whole bunch of different topics today. Good morning, Steven. And I think this is actually going to be the quality level that you weren't expecting, or maybe were, but it's going to be an absolute banger. We got Binance Smart Chain NFTs going on OpenSea. We got educational platforms coming through on Sotheby's, a whole lot more. There's a lot of Twitter spaces going on today, so totally cool if you are flip-flopping through some different ones. I want to talk a little bit about staking as well, because it feels that staking is something that is kind of overblown. Every single person is doing it, and after the news from ApeCoin that it's geo-blocked in Canada and the US, like, I don't know. I think that should be a bigger sign for things overall. We got BlockFi filing for bankruptcy, and that's not good, so we still know that there's a massive contagion out there. And then just general adoption and some other stuff we're going to go over, and then some crazy stats regarding some of the top projects on how much money they've raised. I think part of the world is of Web3 and whatnot is kind of in this little bit of a tilly because of the fact that we don't realize how insane the amount of money is that's being pulled out into this. So is it people are going to be able to take their currencies and give back, or is it going to be something that it's just the fact that people that created these projects are going to get their pockets lined, and then that's good, and you call it a day, and it's just, bada boom, bada bang. So let's go over some of this OpenSea news first. So OpenSea tweets out, we're excited to share the BNB chain is officially live on OpenSea. We can't wait to welcome builders like Pixel Sweeper, Goodfellas, Mobox, Thaden Arena, and BitKeep OS. Every BNB chain NFT collection with the transaction that took place after January 1st will be available on OpenSea. We'll continue to backfill historic data. We're thrilled to bring the BNB community into OpenSea. We can't wait to see what you all build. And okay, so first of all, I don't even know any of the Binance Smart Chain NFTs. I need to maybe look into some of them, but I mean, the Pixel Sweeper one that they mentioned has an icon of this weird gold little penis looking head that has a shirt of the OpenSea logo on it. So obviously they're stoked to be on her, and it kind of highlights, forever ago, the point of interoperability is really going to be what's king in the space overall. And does that mean we have a huge flush out of some of these other NFTs? I think so, but I mean, I was kind of bearish on some of the Solana NFTs, but then when you go in Crypto Slam, I posted a tweet a little bit earlier where it highlighted that, I can actually just pin it here in the chat, but it highlighted that some of these Solana collections were actually top dogs here. And I was like, and I know that Frank, Docs, and there's some other people that showed stuff, but with DGODs and some of these other things, the big component of it was the fact that they integrated staking of some sort. And so I want to touch on the staking part. We'll get into the Fluff World AMA and why I kind of think that the Q4 bull run is potentially off. But with the staking, right? So as I mentioned before, we have ApeCoin that said at certain places, which the majority of NFT collectors that were a part of, are doing blockage. They're blocking. They're being an NBA defender. They're holding it down. They're stopping you from doing it, even though apparently there's ways of getting around it. Now, at the same time, we have Guild of Guardians, which is a collection that I've been following, that announced that they were doing staking. And their token like completely tanked after the staking announcement happened. And is it not kind of concerning that we have this kind of world where staking is supposed to be a good thing, and then all of a sudden we're noticing that it's not anymore? And further to that is Kill a Bears. If you happen to have seen Kill a Bears, there was somebody that dropped a thread that said they put 69 more Ethereum into Killer Bears ecosystem. And so let me read this thread real quick and then we'll bring up Squiddy here. So why I just invested 69 more ETH into the Killer Bears ecosystem, including 19 ETH on my new PFP. I have been a Killer Bears holder for a while now. I have always liked what the team is building, and I believe that their talent can get the Bears in front of a much wider audience beyond Web3. For the past few months, I've been spending less time on Twitter, so I haven't kept up with all that much in the NFT space as a whole. The other day, I was catching up on what some of the projects I invested in have been up to, and I saw Killer Bears was having a nice run. I decided I would list some and take some profits, and some of the ones I listed sold. Then I decided to dig a bit deeper into what's going on with the Bears and caused my sudden surge. So I reached out to this person called Ben NFT, and they chatted about upcoming staking that was starting today, I guess. And then he also said he also told some of the other stuff that the team was working on in addition to the Web3 stuff. And so I read that and I'm like, okay, so this guy just invested 69 effing Ethereum because of staking. And has staking ever really worked? I know that if you're in the crypto world, that like Hex by Richard Hart, that one's kind of completely centralized on staking. But for some of like these other NFTs where it's kind of like a side piece with these tokens, is it just a matter of buying time, or is it actually anything that's kind of good? But yo, Squiddy, how the hell are you? You're down in Miami, my guy, right?
Yes, sir. The live Schiller reporter on the ground from Miami. Just watched my USA defeat the Iranians 1-0 to move on to the next
Yo,
round.
banger. Yo, were the cars honking and stuff? How is it in the United States? In Canada, like Canada wins something in like hockey and nobody does anything. In US, is it crazy or not really?
US, like, we're up for 5 minutes. Let's rip the city.
I've seen a lot of people on Twitter regarding it.
Yeah, but it's hype. It's hype out here. A lot of U.S. jerseys, and Miami's very international. So it's fun to see. Like, the World Cup's one of my favorite events of the year, despite the corruption. I went to Brazil for the World Cup in 2014. I didn't go to Russia. Scheduling, the U.S. didn't make it, but yeah, it's fun. Man.
Damn. All right. Well, I friggin' love it. And so, are you just kind of chilling? What's on tap for everything with like Art Basel here?
Yeah. So I had meetings and calls from 2 to 5, 2 to 6 Eastern. And yeah, they calls from 2 to 6. Then I'll probably go back out. I'm gonna go to the Renga party. Shout out to NFT Comic Man in the crowd with the Renga there.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, so I like their community. I had was at a 10K TF OG brunch today because I'm an OG in that community. One I'd like to get involved in more. And yeah, bummed that I did not buy. I tried to get fucking money into Solana to buy a Ute when it was just free, and fucking Solana didn't know how to figure it out.
Yo, you didn't. Well, okay. So I know that you just kind of joined, but I want to get on this point about staking because I'm curious if you have any thoughts.
Oh yeah.
I've seen tokens come out, they've introduced staking, and then like nothing's happened with them, and it feels that it's more of a hey, we're delaying providing any value to it until later on. So, do you think staking is a good thing or a bad thing? Because I think the ApeCoin staking making the token move is way overblown, but maybe I'm a fish.
Wait, say that last part one more time.
Like so, the ApeCoin staking, I everyone's saying that it's a bullish catalyst, but I don't know if I necessarily agree.
Oh, I'm indifferent. I'm so hyper focused on Champions Ascension and like our game and making sure that we are in the best situation possible. That I don't know. I know is that like I recently bought some additional ape coin back, and I'm sitting on 10,000 ape coin, and I'm in the U.S. So that's gonna be an interesting for me that I'm just kind of like learning and figuring out what I'm gonna do in that regard. 'Cause I still want to take part in ape DAO, but with we've got champions, we've got a quote unquote play to earn game, we've got a whole tokenomics standpoint too. It's just
Are
clearly
you
there's shit going on in the world right now. We're just kind of let these things come out. So we've delayed our staking, right? We had said that we're gonna have staking in our game, where people who are working on the game they're no longer with it. But yeah, it's a crazy world. One I'm glad I don't have to make any decisions for, but it's been wild to see because I think I got a pretty good understanding from behind the scenes with what we're doing. It's kind of like playing the same field as the ApeCoin people.
okay? So with the staking though, do you know much of like why you guys were doing it, other than like kind of matching that like a lot of other projects are also doing that, or do you have more of like a rationale?
So there's going to be more of a rationale in our upcoming white paper, and people a lot smarter than I will be able to talk about it, and I will come on to this too. But there's like you gotta adapt. There's got to be utility to it, and it's got to play within the within the rules, within the rules of the law, especially on our level when we're dealing with a big company. So
Yo, yeah,
yeah,
okay, I gotcha, I
it'll
gotcha. Okay, cool.
find
So
out to be like that, like a DGen, like play and earn bit is just but now it's just like we have a game, right? So how can we make these tokens and these coins all kind of like fit and make sense for everyone, and not like a lot of times people introduce a token and then it just like cash it out and sells, right? We're building we've got a AAA game, right? And this currency, these coins are going to be the currency of our world. So however that works amongst the suits and people smarter than I is it. But for that same reason, we haven't been able to do anything with staking, which a lot of our prime eternals have been wanting for, especially day one. It's been a lot better and a lot easier now because the game is real, right? There's no doubt about the game, and people are playing every week,
right,
including
right.
Jay Sooner. Prince, was it Prince? Uh, what's your title, Jay Sooner? Are you a boss? I don't know, but it's been great seeing my guy in Messina.
Yo, love it. Okay, so I want to kind of get back into the overarching like title of this Twitter space of is the NFT bull
Right.
run Q4 off? And that's kind of the I can bring up Jess sooner here. But the like so I think overall here's the problem that I have with this is that originally I thought the other day everyone's talking, they're hyping up, they're being like yo yo yo, things are moving, it's exciting, we've now flipped bullish when like there's no major catalysts that have done that except for the fact that there is a
A
what's the
box.
word I'm looking
A
for?
box.
So
There was a box.
yeah, well, I mean, like
You
people are
tweeted a
just like,
box.
yo, it's moving, and I'm like, okay, like I don't know if I necessarily like buy that,
Yeah.
and
I don't know.
the sales like picked up, and there was like 63 people that bought, which is disgusting. You know how small 63 people are to like buy something? Like that's unbelievably tiny. And then yesterday we had the Fluff World AMA, and I know they have like a whole lot of funding with it. And during the Twitter space, they talked about how, oh, we have world class partners, we have
No
ballistic
one and
missiles
no one
to
cares.
fire. Like, I mean, there's a lot of like hype that's being said by some of these founders and whatnot, but then they dropped and said, oh, yeah, like for our entire network token or whatever, we're waiting until the market's better, which to me was like, okay, dude, this is what I was waiting for, where I felt that every collection was waiting until the market was better to launch stuff. And that was kind of the signifying factor for me. So, do these collections still come out with anything in December? Is it, like maybe half of the announcements that they wanted to? Maybe they're completely waiting until 2023. Like, do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, my thoughts of and that's a great question. My thoughts would lean towards more 2023. It would make more sense, right? Just in the grand scheme of things, it's a holiday. It's been a long year, pushing up in December, and yeah, just kind of hit the ground running. I feel like there's like a lot of people that I'm talking to out here in Miami, and like creators and people are talking about, you know what it is, Schiller. You're going nonstop 24/7, right? Like I've got unlimited PTO, but I maybe have taken a week this year with this job because it's nonstop, right? We're building our legacies, we're building these projects. People are tired, man. I
Well, I
really
mean,
people
you
are tired.
that point right there you had regarding the fact that it's like the holidays is an amazing one. And Justin, or what's up?
Oh, Chieftain, by the way, answer
Chieftain, yes,
to
my
Squiddy's
fellow
question
chieftain, my
earlier.
fellow chieftain. Thank you. I must address you as your proper title. I didn't want to mean any disrespect.
Well, it was funny. I was actually sending Schiller a bunch of stuff about Castle Age in a DM before he got on this space, or when he was on this space. I didn't realize he was talking for a minute, and I saw he got on there. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get on here and listen.
Love it. Great to see you. But yeah, man, the holidays, Schiller. We got the holidays, and yeah, just I know a lot of people I'm talking to in Miami. It seems to be like a group think, right?
Yo,
So
facts. Yeah, yeah.
that's my vibe. Everyone, you can only get fucked for so long. Bills can do the thing for so long where it's just like, well, let's take a quick break.
And we'll see how many of the other collections do stuff. But with that kind of point, one thing that I do want to highlight though is we've seen some absolutely unbelievable raises within the space. So very quickly here, Illuvium raised $72 million from the virtual land sale. Pixel Vault got like $100 million from VCs plus their Planet Mint, and then the recent Comic 3 Mint, which I believe raised an additional $10 million. Proof Collective with Moonbirds and all that raised $50 million, and then Bored Ape Yacht Club raised $450 million from the seed funding that they got. And it's wild to think about how much money has been floating around, and then the question then becomes, are the happenings and the quote unquote building behind the scenes turning into something that's actually valuable for holders? Is it something that this is now just kind of lining the pocket of some of these different founders and they're trying to create something? And I mean, with the ApeCoin staking, geo blocking, you do kind of have that question of legalities getting thrown into everything.
Yeah, I think this probably goes to like people say bet on people, right? And the people are going to kind of play out in the end. Like, how much do you trust your founder of your favorite NFT project, Anon? Um, yeah, it's just with these big raises, you kind of gotta, make sure you're on board the team. And yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on how these guys spend that money, right? And only they know how they're going to do that, how they're going to spend it. I see some of these big raises in games and some of these people that they're investing in, which I'm like, all right, these guys are going to flop, right? Because they're getting involved with the wrong people.
Yeah.
I'm seeing
So
that.
I mean,
I'm
the
seeing that in
other
the
the other
gaming space, particularly.
Yeah, well, the other component that I was wanting to kind of bring up is like what's going to redrive hype back into the space, because I think for any new collections out there, they're like, okay, what can we do that's different? How do we raise the
Right.
money? How do we execute this vision? And we've seen a few collections that have had success, but that's somehow they've gotten insane hype. They've gotten both collections recently, Helix and Valhalla, both said they raised like several $1 million before their sale even happened. So it was like, okay, well, how the hell did that occur in the first place? And then looking back to 2021, if we remember, Coca Cola sold NFTs where they had those big fridges that went for like a lot of money. We we had Nike enter the space through Artifact. And I mean, more recently, obviously, it's not as big, but like Porsche announced, hey, we're coming into Web3, and we're doing like a 7,500 NFT collection based off of like their Porsche 911. And it just kind of begs the question, like, is these brand partnerships and other stuff even going to bring people in anymore? Is that a completely mute point? Do we have to have something that's like truly built, foundational, functional, and exciting, whether it be games, social platforms, etc.? Because I just feel like nothing is bringing the hype back.
Yeah, I like to me, I'm a gamer at heart, and to me, it's always led back to gaming, and to me, it's always kind of made sense. So I know for me, right, find the right profile pictures where we or the right NFT projects where we can like bring them into Messina, right? Just like it's going to be with the other side. Find those right PFPs. Um, I think that being able to use that and have like a social, have like an actual social experience with your characters that's not like in a Discord, right? Um, I say loosely like the like a proximity chat or these chat rooms where you're kind of like moving around in this metaverse. And to me, it all kind of goes to gaming, right? To me, it all kind of goes to gaming, because the gaming communities, gaming guilds. I think each NFT community should have its own gaming guild, right? Like that's how people should start. You know, want to get ahead of the next one, get ready for all these games. You know, start your local PFP guild, right? Like Gutter Cat Gang should have a gaming guild, right? Like I don't know if the Bored Apes have an official one. They've got the other side. They've got their own game, but I don't know. To me, it's gaming that I think could jumpstart it, but that's not going to excite everyone because not everybody's a gamer, right? So when it comes to that, I don't know, and I hate to say not my problem, um, but I don't know, not my problem. I think gaming really can jumpstart and make it be fun if, like, you know, gamers can really get into it and recognize that NFTs aren't going to fuck them up, and there could be real cool games that just because one of these things we call an NFT, you own it, right? Like it's in your wallet and you can sell that asset. You can, I don't know. So I think gaming is going to be the spot that can bring this next rally, bring this next bull. But I'll have a better assessment too. I like talking to people and feeling people out. So being able to like see the vibe after Miami once it's all kind of said and done will be good. You know, because again, you sound you're too smart, Schiller, right? You've got numbers and analytics and stuff. I don't do anything with numbers. I'm full. I'm just full, right? So
Well, so I mean, okay, let's talk about numbers and some other stuff right quick because obviously the FTX thing is still like being blown out of proportion. I mean, sorry, I shouldn't say like blown out of proportion. It's still something that's
wrecking havoc.
happening, or
It's still wrecking havoc.
yeah, yeah. So BlockFi announces that they're filing for bankruptcy, but it's not like the bankruptcy that they're like shutting down completely. It's hey, we're wanting to still work, but like we need funds or like we can't afford things, blah 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 blah. And you know, at the same time that that happens, the following day, like today, Coinbase Wallet announced that it's stopping support for XRP and some of these other tokens, and so then it jumps out to me of like, okay, so like BlockFi, I know some people got boned by that, where they are like a bigger entity and they trusted it, right? So, I mean, obviously there's FTX is one thing, and then people go and say, oh, well, this exchange is going to be safe, whether it's Binance or whatever else, and then it's proving that those ones actually aren't. And then further to that, we're running into the aspect of Coinbase saying, hey, we're taking off something that us, everyone that's in the NFT and crypto sphere, is, I believe, thinking that XRP is going to win the SEC case because that's the rumors. That's what everybody's been saying. That's what some of the headlines have basically pointed to. But then Coinbase taking that off is making me think, okay, well, if we just had ApeCoin staking getting geo blocked in the US, maybe something is happening with XRP where that's actually not going to be good, or it's not going to be good in the States, and maybe they'll be like okay, but they have to like pull out of the States. And I'm curious, and if there's anybody in the crowd that wants to come up and talk about this too, like what do you think of all these like massive crypto happenings? Like is it is it secret, is it safe?
I wish I had an answer for you. I wish I was opinionated or sophisticated enough to kind of like give one in there, but I'm not as informed as I could be to kind of like give an opinion on it. To be honest, right?
No, that's totally cool. I'm just kind of sitting here being like, I
Yeah.
think that there's like a genuine concern for some of these like legal structures with
Yep.
that for the fallout of some of these NFTs. And to the ApeCoin staking, I think like, and I hate that we always like talk about that, but everyone is going to base everything off of that. And I think that people don't realize the trickle down effect that that's going to have. If they say, okay, we're like not doing everything that we originally said and laid out, how does that look for the entirety of the space with Bored Apes being at the top? It's not good. This is why Gutter Cat said, hey, we're not holding that token. And why, again, as I mentioned earlier, for anyone that's just tuning in, yesterday, Fluff World is building this entire blockchain called the Root Network, and they announced that they're literally waiting to like have this token drop and other aspects until the market's in a better sentiment. And they have like 300, well, 80 people on their team, 300 with the overall vision, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, holy shit, like we might be in like a really, really rough spot over the next month. And then even worse to that is that we're heading into the holidays. So, we have like another 20-ish days until people are just gone for, Christmas, New Year's, whatever. And then we pick back up again. And then how quickly does that pick back up really rejuvenate the market?
I think it's going to pick back up immediately. I do. So I think people can be rested and they're going to be like, all right. And like the builders and the people who just like need to make shit happen are going to be like, all right, it's time to get it popping again. Right. Kind of like reassessing. And I think it's going to be good for everyone.
So the other thing that happened during the Twitter space yesterday for this Fluff World thing, and
Can you link me to that, by the way? Is there anything in writing there? Was there like a blog post? I'm looking at the Fluff right now too, because I'm actually curious to read that.
oh, so there's people that like put out different like Coles notes or whatever from this session, but I don't know if like Fluff World addressed it in general. But so like
that makes sense. Like,
yeah, so during the Twitter space though, one of the things that I thought was kind of like interesting or weird, I don't really know how to take it, was there was this person that came up on the stage and then started just friggin' grilling the shit out of the team, being like, oh, you need to focus on building a brand, you're having too big of a vision, you're doing like this and that wrong. And like, why does everybody within the space think that they can do everything better? Like, I don't understand the ego trip within this space. And every day I wake up, look at Twitter, somebody's beefing with somebody over something completely friggin' stupid. Top Shot people are at their teeth wanting to like literally go in a UFC ring and start swinging down. I'm like, guys,
well, that's
we
fine.
are way past this.
That's fine though. Like anyone can run Top Shot.
Okay, maybe the one caveat, but like it's strange where we have this we have so much money that's flowing around. We have these teams that are extremely well funded, and we're supposed, remember like a year or two ago when everyone said the smartest people in the world are in Web3, and now we have like Twitter bozo over there that tweets like 65 times a day, that gets on the stage and then tells the team that's raised like whatever hundreds of millions of dollars, like, oh, you're doing it wrong. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, we see that. I mean, we saw that a lot too with champions, especially in the beginning too. And it's hard too because like with it being Web3 and being community driven and community like led. I know for a beginning and for a while there was the mentality of like, all right, I own this NFT, therefore I own this project. I own this project, which was never just real, but there was just like that ego, that entitlement, and that like some people think it was new. It was a learning experience for a lot of people. I've to those people's credit, it's been most people kind of figured out on their own time. It just takes time, right? It just takes time and involvement to kind of like take a step back and reassess it. But yeah, I don't know. Not everyone, there's such a thing as too many chefs in the kitchen.
True facts.
That is a very real thing. And yeah, it's just what I say to those people too, and I bring it back to Top Shot, right? Me, Schiller, like when I saw my opportunity in the space, it started with Top Shot. I was like, all right, if I can get Dapper to hire me, it can kind of come out. We weren't giving shit, right? We were committing our own time, getting involved in the Top Shot project because we're like, all right, we're building out our community currency, and we're building out like we're long term on this right now. So how can we like position ourselves? And we were like working for free, asking with nothing in return, because like you got to be able to prove value to what you're building at the current time. And it's just, I know it's hard for people too because no one wants to work for free. And again, when you're being a awesome community member and contributing, like your time's most valuable asset. You're working, right? So it's a really interesting balance and difficult balance. Yeah, man, it's just it's tough, right? Like it's when people are raising big money, they're not raising millions of dollars. So like the important things can come to a vote, right?
Well, Vitalik made a post earlier about how like why the hell are people buying coins or NFTs that are for like governance? Like that's weird, with the assumption of, oh yeah, like I'm gonna sell this to somebody else that's gonna allow me to vote for something on a platform that's going to favor me. And I kind of agree with it, and I think that that's one of the problems with like the ape coin is that I don't know if it's necessarily a problem per se, but then everyone's trying to vote on something that's going to be beneficial to them. So then it's how many people can get
Right.
on the same wavelength where it feels beneficial for pretty much everybody. But yo, Jazz Sooner, I know you've been up here for a little bit. Is there any kind of thoughts or any opinions about anything we've talked about up here so far? And Jam might be at work.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
It's
No, I'm
Chieftain
actually
Jazz
I'm
Sooner.
actually
Yo,
It's
on
Chieftain
Chieftain.
vacation
Sorry,
this
right,
week.
right.
Yeah, I'm on vacation this week actually.
Are
So
you in Miami?
no, I'm in Oklahoma.
Oh, same thing. Beautiful weather. Oklahoma's the
No,
Sunshine State.
no. Oklahoma is not the same thing as Miami. As my wife is now laughing on the couch. By the way,
They don't call Oklahoma the Sunshine State.
no, they don't call us the Sunshine State. But if you want wind, you can come out here, and we got lots of that.
I'll respectfully pass.
Oh, and tornadoes and heat, she says. So, but yeah, I was just doing dishes, putting stuff up, listening, thinking about the cast.
I love to hear people opinions about this, like who are in, right? Jason Sooners fully in champions now.
Yes, yeah. Give me a second. Let me get away from the.
And we
Yeah, I
love
was about
that
to
you're
say, if
fully
you're
in.
doing the dishes, we can come back to you, Mike.
Oh no, you're good. I was just
Still just want to spread the love.
Right. Yeah. No. So the Champions Ascension. Yeah. It's absolutely. I love it. It's a lot of fun. I've been trying to get Schiller to play it some.
Me too, man. I don't know what he's too fluffed up.
He's got 2 champions or 2 primes.
Yo, facts. Yeah. I do.
Let's get a
then we've
stream
got
or something, right? It's easy.
Yeah.
You got Uncle Squiddy.
Yo, facts, 100%. But Justin, or any extra thoughts on anything we've talked about, or kind of standout opinions?
You put me on the spot. I do think
if not, it's all good.
No, I do think that we're kind of in a dead spot right now. We're waiting for some of this stuff to get built out, and for some of these regulations to get kind of, I guess, voted on or laid out. But I agree with Squiddy about. I think the gaming aspect is where people are going to come into it. I mean, you get something like, say, Diablo, where you get a generative piece that you can then go and sell on the market. I think that has a lot of potential.
Well, see, I think it's more than that, though. Like, I think that we're coming to a point where, like, the profile aspect is really, really cool, but I think people are also going to want to be able to potentially earn from that, or be able to do more than just kind of have it as like, hey, this is like a special piece from that. And I think that's where the question of the technological advancements plus the legal wherewithal, the concern, whatever you want to say with it, I think that's where the conversation really takes a big turn, because originally with NFTs and crypto, it was the idea of, hey, you're kind of like your own bank. Hey, this is a different monetary system. Hey, you don't need to work with, the original kind of deals. But then it's, hey, you can own your assets. Hey, you can earn from these assets. Hey, you're able to do a whole lot more. And Boomer, what's up? Welcome to the stage, sir. But we're kind of just talking about the general NFT market, and if we're going to see a bull run here at the end of Q4. And I think there's way too many question marks for us to have that.
Jim. I'm sorry.
What's up, Boomer?
The first one. Hello. Sorry, I missed the first half hour or whatever you've been going.
No, you're chilling.
Yeah, we're 2/3 through Q4, sir. So yeah, bull run confirmed dead.
Well, I mean, okay, so with that being said, though, we saw the movement for Bored Apes and the dogs. Is that not like a sign of what could happen?
I mean, maybe, but also like any sign of life from the apes. I mean, people thought the apes were dead. They were just kept getting floored. And then, I mean, getting investigated by the SEC is no joke. But then you start to see them be a little more active, and they're like, oh shit, they're alive. And then they start trading again, and then it'll be silent for a little bit. And then people start flooring it again. But that's just apes that have a decent amount of money still playing the game. Or it's Franklin just flooring everything to liquidate Bendao and make 30 ETH
Good old
every time.
Franklin,
And
eh?
I don't understand how people still don't understand what he's doing. It makes me laugh every time. Like the dude floors like 8 or 9 apes. He forces everything into liquidation on Bendao. He puts the first bid in. Everyone then pays back their loans. He makes 30 ETH. He delists all his apes. Rinse and repeat. That's all it is. So part of that
Yo,
down
I
to
mean, I
People
guess
don't
if
like
you
facts,
can do it,
Boomer. People don't like facts. People don't like facts. You know this.
I mean, it does require like looking 2 feet ahead. And I
Yeah.
realize that most people have the attention span of a gnat. So it also doesn't work out well.
what the hell is a gnat?
Oh, God. There you go. See?
Is that a Canadian,
Right there.
Canadians hot dog Nats?
No.
Yeah, JVB, I was
it's
going to
way
ask
too
you if you
cold up
wanted to
there.
explain it for me.
Are we serious? Yeah, we're serious. This is Schiller. We're totally serious.
You really don't know what a gnat is?
I know National Geographic magazine.
No, this is
Okay, so
G
Schiller,
N A T.
Oh, boy.
GNAT,
Just
a gnat.
Google it, and then
and
we
it
can.
has
I have
nothing
no
to do
idea
with
what
good
Amanda's
night.
yelling at me now. What?
Oh,
Somebody explain this.
You
Yeah,
need to
Amanda's
come
over there
down.
slapping at me like, you look stupid. Stop talking.
Okay, so Schiller, I know you don't run, but for people who do run, you know how sometimes they'll run down the sidewalk through like a cloud of those tiny little bugs and they get in their eyes and their mouth and their nose and stuff, and it's really annoying? Those are gnats.
Oh, yo, okay. I would have just called them like bugs or something, but okay, cool. We got a specific term for them. Love it. I friggin' love it. Yo, I was seeing all this stuff earlier, not to completely derail the topic, but JVB, there was a whole bunch of FUD this morning regarding the ApeCoin down. I know that you are running, guys. Of course, vote JVB. We love them. But what was going on with that? So there was like personal information that people could opt into or out of, and then people got really upset that stuff was shared, or was that? Do you have much insight on what was going on there?
Look, so there are a few issues with it. One, there are a lot of people who got turned down in the KYC process for various reasons, and they're all up in arms because maybe they have a relative who's participated in state-sponsored terrorism, or maybe they have, and they didn't know about it because, of course, the relative didn't come clean and tell them, or maybe, you know, they have like legal issues or whatever, like. But there are a bunch of people up in arms, and they're like, why was the
Canadian.
KYC turned down? So there's the KYC thing, but then there's the other thing. When I filled out my application, on the first page for KYC, it asks you to list like your education, your professional experience, address, phone number, birth date, stuff like that. And then at the bottom, there's a bunch of boxes that you can check, and all the boxes come unchecked. And you can check boxes to choose what information you share, which means that everyone whose phone number, address, date of birth, etc., were leaked voluntarily and consciously clicked those boxes. Anybody who shared that information to me should not be allowed to run and should not run, because if they have to deal with any sort of confidentiality on the board at all, they're not going to know what to do because they didn't know what to do with their own personal information. There's no way anyone should voluntarily click those boxes to share it, and people did it, and that's on them. And like, if people are upset about it because they think ApeCoin did it, like, enough people have countered that argument now that everyone kind of knows, but the people who shared that information chose to, and that's just dumb. It's just dumb.
Dude, I love this space. It
This,
feels like
this
there's always
man
something going
has
on.
my vote.
Sorry,
100%
and
has my vote.
Schiller, I'm sorry that you shared all your information. I didn't mean to call you out specifically. Sorry.
Dude, I didn't even run. But yeah, guys, if you are voting, JVB is running for the council, which is, I think, going to be one of the most interesting. I don't even know if we call it experiments within the space when we have all these people that are voting on this stuff. I feel that we are now back into high school. We were trying to run for what the hell were like the high school classes or like clubs or whatever when it was like the high school president, whatever, social clubs. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Guys, welcome to the space if you're just tuning in. My name is Schiller. I do Twitch streams talking about NFTs and whatnot. And on Tuesdays at 4 p.m., we do a whole bunch of different discussions on Twitter regarding whatever's kind of trending. And I think, you know, what's not really trending is talking about what Q4 is going to have for the bull run. If there is one, is there something that we really need to take an eye on? And I had a friend that reached out earlier today and was highlighting back, I guess in 2018, that the United States government posted information about what to do if the power grid fails. And at the same time, there's some news coming out of Ukraine that the power grid is like failing. There are people that are doing surgeries and stuff like with flashlights over there, and it's getting very interesting. And so, JVB, I might throw this one to you for a second just because you might be more tuned in than some of the others. Do you know like much about what's going on with some of the Ukraine things, if this is potentially going to affect crypto and whatnot from like an actual grand scale of if power grids go down, if your crypto getting lost? We've got people that reached out to me this morning being like, yo, make sure you have your stuff on a cold wallet and not a hot wallet in case something like this does happen.
I think that the beauty of blockchain is that you can take Ukraine off the power grid and it won't really impact the whole chain. Gas might be more expensive, right? There's like a lot of things that might come, like, you know, you might have to wait longer to fill a block. The gas to get into a block might go up, whatever. But you'd have to take the entire world off the power grid for the blockchain to go down. So I'm not that worried about it. I am worried about the fact that we're still allowing the war to go on, but that's another conversation for another time. Most of the people I know, though, that are from Eastern Europe, Ukraine, etc., that have been in crypto for a long time have gotten out, though, and most of their stuff is now located elsewhere. So, I mean, it sucks, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm more worried about the people.
Not to be insensitive and follow, he's worried about the people, but I don't think it's a blockchain issue. I think it's a game development issue. Most of the games that are creating are outsourcing their game development, and most of those outsourced studios are in the Ukraine. So if they're having more issues in power grids, that's just more delays for most people who aren't creating it in-house. So I think you'll see more and more delays and issues, which we've already heard and seen, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I have a lot of friends from the esports world who have run like Ukrainian organizations like We Play, and well, they've all gotten out. They had a huge team, right? They created plushies and all sorts of physical merch for esports events, as well as having studios and stuff there. And I think I've gotten like kind of an understanding from them just how much of the esports world is driven by like small Ukrainian businesses. And it's kind of crazy.
Now, the other kind of topics that we have that I kind of wrote down was yesterday during one of the spaces for Fluff World, there was a comment while I was streaming from somebody in the chat that said, okay, why don't teams just announce bad news right away? And, you know, an example of this would be for the ApeCoin when they said, hey, the US and Canada are geo-blocked, as well as some other different places from staking that. And the community really reacted pretty viciously right away, saying, oh, this is awful, this is bad, yada, yada, yada. And I feel that we're going to have like slow trickles of some other stuff, but I'm curious for everyone that's up here speaking, how do you think would be the best for these teams to handle some of this bad news that we might get over the next couple of months?
Oh, if someone up here knows, I'm taking notes, right? We're listening. Yeah, that's a $1 million question, right? I don't think there's ever going to be an answer to that. I really don't. Because it's interesting, right? Because there's always, if there is bad news, there's things, people are working to not make that, right? People are just, I don't know. It's an interesting question that I'm excited to hear people answer to. Maybe this is a good way to maybe get some of my ApeCoin votes from Justin here.
Yo, Mr. Justin. Okay, so JVB, let me throw it to you. For some of this bad news that might come out, what do you think is the most like appropriate way for people to address it? Because I think realistically, when you look at some of these bigger collections, like Doodles, for example, they were really quiet for a while, and then randomly started putting out tweets, and then people thought it was kind of like a meme, and then it's just I don't know. I feel like people are uber sensitive to everything right now.
People have been uber sensitive to everything this whole time, right? Look at how many times things have like pumped or died on like a meme in a dream. Look at, oh gosh, what was it? I mean, we saw runs even in Top Shot back in the day where someone was like, oh, like a player did an NFT or came onto a stream. And because the player said, hi, I NFT, everyone was like, oh, cool, we'll buy up all their Top Shot moments. That hasn't changed, you know? I mean, ApeCoin's been pumping recently. We saw when the Bored Apes made the announcement that the trial of Jimmy the Monkey is going to be on Christmas, that because there was a picture of a dog on the little box, the dogs pumped. Because everyone was like, oh, there's a picture of a dog. I don't know. I mean, there's no real way to get around it. I've always been, and you know this, Schiller, I've always been a proponent of more like communication in the Discord, but less announcements. But that's because I look at it from like coming from like an esports angle or a gaming angle, right? Where maybe you have a community manager and he works with the devs and you have like a weekly show where you talk about stuff, but you don't put out announcements of an announcement. You talk about like minor changes, or you talk to the community, or you highlight, like community things or whatever. But I think because people know how speculative everyone is and how reactionary everyone is, that most projects, and I understand the pressures of wanting to satisfy your investors, for lack of a better word, but I think most projects have like a moral responsibility to not feed into that, right? And to like withhold information.
But
So,
with those
know.
two, then people don't give a shit, right? Like I really think that I'm working on. We've got the best legit video game in the space, and it seems that just people would rather like talk about and bicker and I don't know any of this other stuff when there's like, and we're not alone. There are so many other like real projects who are doing just like what you're describing, but people don't give a shit because it can't maybe 10x them in a one night hype train, right? People are still kind of like looking for that immediate bag. It seems when there's so many other like great amazing projects, fluff, right? Like Shill was talking about the cool shit that rock in there too. Uh, there's so much shit, but people just are still focused on that immediate greed and where can I 10x right away is the sense that I get too. Because I hear these conversations, I'm like baffled that people are saying this is what we want, and especially in the video game space, we've been in pre-alpha for 3 months, right? And we're alpha testing combat like in a real video game, but it's not going to 10x you right away. I don't know. So it's perplexing to me. It's perplexing to me.
Yeah, you're pretty dead on. I think, even especially in this environment, right? It's a bear market. Nobody's making money unless you got lucky and got like art copies allow list or something. So I think that there's even more pressure, right? Because liquidity's gone. So the people really are like, if it's not going to 10x, then it has even less of their focus. Whereas, in the bull market, people are like, oh, they're building a game, so we'll buy it and we'll hold, even though they might not. Yeah, that's really tough.
And
we have
players right now, like it still exists, right? People have our Prime Eternals. They're grinding tickets in a real ass video game, and they can mint loot boxes, which they're selling for ETH, right? People are buying more assets, more Prime Eternals because they're playing a real video game, right? And like the shit's out there. But people, I don't know, it's out there. I feel people aren't looking hard enough. People are getting lazy, and people are like, if they're not first, and again, that immediate 10x, no one wants to put in the time. No one wants to work.
Well, I think actually, sorry, Boomer, go ahead.
I'm gonna come at the other angle. So I think Schiller, from your question, like you guys were talking about how the community's perception to bad news, but I'm gonna come from the project, owner or company's perspective. If they see bad news, you should be communicating fucking weekly with people on what's happening with your project. And if you see bad news coming, you should say something and be transparent and open. It shouldn't come as a surprise. It like I might be the only one, but like they fucking released ApeCoin and they're from the United States. It doesn't take rocket science to go, like, should we make sure that's not a fucking security and that the actual people in the United States can actually stake the damn thing we're about to release? Kind of common sense to me. And I know they have a ton of attorneys. This should not have been a 11th hour, oh crap, we got a geo block and we're not even going to announce, we're just going to put it in a fucking little tiny disclosure down somewhere random on the site.
I'm literally just learning about that today, by the way. I was just informed about that. I was just informed about that live.
Yo, Squiddy, you're great.
Welcome to reality, sir.
Wait, Schiller, it's geo-blocked? I just learned right now.
Yeah, holy God, eh? So, okay.
Oh God, we're gonna put you in charge. Oh Jesus,
I'm
it's like
kidding.
Schiller figuring out a net.
So I want to get into something that I think is going to be like a super vital thing. But I mean, just to like, from my perspective, there is a lot of people, like, I mean, on the stage, right? Yeah, technically everybody, minus Jess Sainer, but love you, Jess Sainer, like Boomer, Squiddy, JVB, you guys have all been a part or currently working on different games or NFTs over like the last little bit, right? And I mean, we're talking like a very minute amount of people within the space right now. And, 3 of them aren't involved in something. And I think there's going to be like almost a cluster of different people that are trying to execute on a vision. And I think there is a grander problem of people trying to grasp everything that's happening, because you really do have to do your research, Squiddy, to what you're saying, of finding all these different games, seeing these different things. Like, there is just so much as a consumer to have to figure out. And then the question is, okay, do I end up like allocating funds to this one? Do I go over to a free to play and see what it is, et cetera, et cetera? But my question ultimately here, and I'm going to leave this extremely broad for everyone to answer, and JVB, will start with you on this one. Will blockchain games save esports as a whole? Because we've seen with Overwatch League and some other ones, minus League of Legends, it seems they're not being as profitable as before.
Yeah, I mean, even most games like that, right? You look at player bases and they're down. Like Dota 2 Dota 2 has the largest prize pool in esports, and it's not really close. It was smaller this year, only 18 million for their marquee tournament. But last year was over 40 million for the marquee tournament. You have the team that won last year made over 18 million to split between 5 guys and then 10 to 20% for the org. Like, there's still a lot of money at the high ends of esports. The problem is the player bases that help sustain that, right? And will blockchain games save that? I don't know if it's blockchain games in particular. I think that we need kind of like a paradigm shift in how people view games, and maybe play to earn is that. But I think, hashtag we're still early. I really think we're kind of far out on that. And I don't know what the answer is. Maybe it's AR games, maybe augmented reality will save it, in which case we're like 4 years out. Maybe blockchain games will, because people can make money. People are still gaming. EA still makes a ton of money. Modern Warfare 2 just came out. They're making a ton of money. So I don't know. I'm sure Boomer actually has a better answer than I do. Boomer, what do you think?
We're all going to zero.
Zero!
And I embrace the zero. Schiller and I send each other the Clinton zero gift.
Yo, listen, we send that to everybody. We love
like
the Clinton
best
zero, 100%.
That's like the best one. Well, blockchain game, I think it's a weird question, to be honest, because I don't think blockchain game saves esports. I don't think that's like how that works. I think blockchain gaming in its current like play to earn model, we could clearly see that was broken. We see studios are adapting, but I think once we hit to the concept of like, it's not an NFT, it's just a digital asset, and you're logging in and it feels just like Steam, and you're downloading and you're playing and you're interacting, and like you have the ability to sell shit because you played it and earned it to other players without breaking terms of service. and it's really easy to onboard, and you don't have to deal with MetaMask and like worry about a token, and you don't have all these like complexities that we currently have, and the infrastructure and foundation is there. I think it changes all of gaming, not just esports. So I think it, as it matures, it pulls the whole industry with it. And all of these big names, like, they're not going to throw NFTs in their game just to have it in their game. Like, you're not going to see Apex decide one day, hey, like, Apex Legends is now backed by the blockchain, and like trade all the shit that we had you buy that you never owned. They'll do it with a new IP. Maybe Respawn throws out a new game and tries it, but it's too lucrative right now. Like, why would they cut any of their revenue sources? People willingly give them tons of money for skins that they're basically renting and don't own. Why would they pivot? So, all of us creating here, when we get to the point where the foundation is built, it's super easy to onboard because they don't even realize that they're onboarding into this. We're going to pull all the studios, esports, the whole industry is going to move that direction. Because then it'll be like, why the hell am I playing Apex? Like, I can't give this to JVB. I can't sell this to Squiddy. Like, what the hell? Like, why not?
So it's funny you say that. To add on to that, I can drop some alpha here. We're taking our first crack at that, Boomer. So some alpha here with champions. In about like the next week or so, we're launching a invite a friend feature, where again anyone can. You have a gaming PC, right? It's a video game. You could download the client. Someone who owns the Prime Eternal will send you a code, and you can log in, right? Although you're still going to need a MetaMask, right? I think you still need a. That's actually a great question. It might even you might not even need a MetaMask. You might just need the code in the game, and you can play around with that code, and it's connected to your Prime. So you bring a friend. Your friend can come into Messina, try combat, try the battle, and earn tickets at like a quarter of the fraction as someone with a player too. And the player gets kind of like an onboard tickets as well, and earns with their player, earn those tickets. So yeah, we're gonna see. Hey, if we can get our guys to bring their friends, it's not gonna cost them anything. They can just download the game client like you would on a Steam or anything else, and then log in and sign up, and you're in as like a neutral person. So
I
that's
mean,
really
it
on our
makes
end.
total sense, right? You send an invite out. You have that person who has no idea what Web3 is or any of this other shit we're talking about. They go to play the game, and I'm like, oh, Schiller has that Eternal. Great. Like, I'm using his character. I earn 5 tickets. Like, Schiller should get a ticket, and I get 4. Or Schiller gets 2, I get 3. Like, that makes perfect sense. Now you've started that process of onboarding, but when they go and they're like, oh, this is dope, I want to buy an Eternal, there's still the issues that we have that like the whole industry is going to be solving with onboarding. Because now they're like, it's not as easy as an email and a password and picking a name. Now they got to go get MetaMask. Now they got to buy ETH. Now they got to move it in. Like, there's still lots of hurdles. So when all of those hurdles are essentially removed, that's when masses are going to come in. And some are working on it. You guys are working on it. Like, we're working on something a little bit different. Like,
Well,
all of it's
okay,
going to kind
so
of work together.
Speaking of that, Boomer, because I have to go. I have a call in 5 minutes. We gotta reschedule. I know we've got a fun conversation. We'll be playing some phone tag. Um,
Totally down.
with your guys, so that'll be good. But I have to run. I've got a call too. It's yeah. So we'll figure some stuff out. Schiller, was a pleasure as
yeah,
always.
appreciate you.
What a vibey room right now, man. Make sure you retweet the space, right? Show Mr. Schiller some love, right? NFT Bull Run Q4 is off. It's off. And yeah, make sure you're showing your space host some love because it's a tough spot. Boomer, Justin, nice to meet you. Boomer, good to see you. I'll follow back up on the email. Jay Sooner, see you in Messina. And yeah, I don't know if you do giveaways or anything too, but if you want to give someone a free tier 1 allow list for the upcoming mint, Schiller, please be my guest.
Yo, you
They'll take
are goated, good sir. Thank you. Appreciate you.
everybody.
So I want to kind of piggyback on the conversation that just happened because it was kind of around the fact of, okay, we have all these different projects that are trying to do different stuff, and then we are at the same time trying to have it where blockchain isn't being shown. So, Boomer, do you think that that's going to be kind of the overarching thing, that moving forward, it's not going to feel like blockchain at all? And realistically, the people that are here right now that understand kind of the behind the scenes of like how to use a MetaMask wallet, et cetera, like, do you think that that component's going to be completely taken out before we hit that, proverbial mass adoption that we've been overusing for the past 2 years?
1,000,000,000%. The word MetaMask will never exist to those users coming on board. Okay, like, that is absolute certainty. They can't. Like, I'm gonna go try to get a friend that doesn't know about Web3 into gaming, and it's like, okay, man, like, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go open an account at Coinbase. You're gonna then go buy ETH by pulling cash out of your bank. You're then gonna wait 5 days. While you're waiting, go get MetaMask. Here's what this is. By the way, don't lose your seed phrase or tell anyone, otherwise you're fucked and you lose all the money you're about to put in. Okay, now move all this money over. Like, do you see how ridiculous that is? Like, here's 20 steps to get to just go play this game and own something. People are used to Amazon and clicking one fucking button to purchase and it sends it to their house in like 4 hours. We are not anywhere close to that. And until we get closer, like, that mass adoption does not happen. Now, things like the apes and other projects that are growing big, and the punks obviously are help, like, that gives good awareness, but like, the infrastructure is not here to support that. And we saw this huge rise up with a bunch of us nerds and degens, like, trading between each other, telling us the story that everyone's coming. And when everyone didn't come, we realized, oh shit, we're the ones all trading ETH and holding our own bags, and then everything plummets. That won't, I don't think the true bull run is going to come until that infrastructure is in place. I want
Justin or any extra thoughts with that before I go on to the next topic?
Absolutely. Look, someone mentioned Steam Marketplace earlier, and it's the perfect example. Like, Steam is easy to play games. Most games that come out are on Steam, and if they're not, everyone hates them. Gabe Newell could save all of us and pump all our bags with one announcement that Steam Marketplace was going to let people withdraw their money, which would effectively turn skins into tradable assets, right? Like, I have, I don't know, $5,000 to $10,000 in Dota 2 skins that are locked up in Steam that I can't get the money out of unless I use some like random third-party thing and take like a 80% 70% loss on value, blah, blah, blah. But Steam Marketplace is successful because you upload your money to the marketplace, you like download, put money in your wallet, and then you just go and you buy some games and you play the games and you can buy the skins on the marketplace and everything. They have a wallet, but you don't know anything about the wallet. And that's what it's going to take, I think, for this. I mean, you can have, one of these blockchain games come out and have their own marketplace and their own thing for the blockchain and their own wallet. But I think that until we have a blockchain version of Steam or Amazon or whatever, where you have your account and you can go on and you can buy your different games in your account, download the different games from that client, trade all your digital collectibles within that ecosystem on that same client, I think that that's what it's going to take. And from my understanding, we're a long ways out from that, primarily because we still don't know what blockchain everyone's going to build their games on, right? Everyone thought it was Solana for the longest time because how quickly their blocks fired off in line with, AAA game tick rates and stuff, but probably not because they go down all the time. I don't know. But we're kind of far.
Yeah, I mean, part is we're far, and I think there's a lot of people that are working on some good stuff. I've got to bounce for a call, but I think, Schiller, this would be a good time to talk about the FIFA Fluff collab and what they did with the prediction game and how that's working and onboarding with 60,000 new people.
Yeah, good point.
That I think is a really good segue into what JVP is saying. But thanks for inviting me up and let me chat for a bit.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate you swinging by, boss.
All right, sir.
Good chat, Bruno. Appreciate the insight. And on the FIFA thing, I passed you today.
I missed 2 days because I was on a boat. So congrats.
I missed 2 days. I feel like.
Yeah. All right, guys. Bye, everyone. Good chatting. Peace out.
Okay, so I'm gonna link the FIFA thing up here in the chat in a second, and we're gonna go over some topics that we talked about early. But I know we have a completely different audience, and JVB was not there earlier for the conversation. But JVB, for the World Cup, do you want to give us an update on what happened with the United States game, and then maybe we can go into the AFE All-Star or the AI League?
Greg Berhalter, the coach for the United States men's national team, should never coach again. I don't want to hear his name mentioned. He has no business coaching our team. But somehow we held on to win. Yay! There were a lot of injuries. Our 4 or 5 of our strongest players got subbed off. And then we kind of tried to park the bus for the last 20, 30 minutes while Iran just let go a barrage and we were under constant siege. But the U.S. held on, and we're going to the round of 16. So that is very exciting, considering the U.S. was not in the World Cup 4 years ago. But it was very stressful for everyone who watched, and it shouldn't have been as close as it was.
Yeah, that final bit of the game was brutal to watch. It was nerve-wracking.
Welcome to the lovely world of soccer. So I posted a tweet up above or pinned it on the channel. So when Boomer was talking a minute ago, and like the kind of overall discussion was about, okay, what does it look like if there is literally no blockchain components for someone that's jumping in, that's trying this kind of stuff, but secretly it's blockchain based. So if you're wanting to try that out, it's an official partnership between Futureverse, which is like the Fluff World and Altered State Machine AI protocol, and some other kind of smaller collections that have come together to create this entire blockchain called Root Network. And so when you sign up, it says that it's powered by Futureverse, but this is actually all on the blockchain. So you can see firsthand what it actually looks like for something that has, blockchain aspects to it that you don't have to deal with the MetaMask. I'm very curious how you guys find it. Now, before I forget, Squiddy did offer a whitelist for their upcoming thing. So I've also pinned the Zero emote, and if you guys are wanting to reply to that comment, just with the GIF of Zero, just type in ZERO. Whatever GIF you want, doesn't really matter. Anyone for that, any people that enter, I'll do a spinny wheel later, and then I'll contact you for your Ethereum address if you're wanting to enter that one. So JVB, let's talk about this AI league, though, because I think that it's something that is one of the first use cases that I've seen where we have a seamless process. It's a massive partnership, but I also feel that it didn't make too many waves across the general NFT space. So what do you think they could have done different, and what's your thoughts just generally on the product itself?
I mean, I think part of the difficulty is that there's so many different game things and it's hard to keep on top of, right? So you have So Rare, which is the largest soccer NFT game marketplace, whatever you want to call it. And they have their own global cup, which you can play with players you don't actually own for free. Then you have FIFA's actual website, play.fifa.com. Which has multiple games. They have Classic Fantasy, Daily Fantasy, Bracket Predictor, Match Predictor. They have an integration with Panini, with digital stickers. And I think that there's just a lot of competition for it, Maybe the news didn't get out there as much. I mean, I think that's probably a very real thing. And that really comes down to Web2 PR advertising and marketing campaigns, right? Which comes down to money. At the end of the day, if they wanted to be the most popular one with the largest player base, they would have had to spend lots of money and take out commercials during the World Cup games, or have, advertisements on like major soccer things or the subreddit, or I don't know where else you advertise for this. But the FIFA one, obviously they have FIFA advertising it. So it's it really comes down to that, right?
I think it's just interesting when you have like such a big body for that, where does it come in that people are still caring about that? Where I know there was the Cristiano Ronaldo NFT with Binance or whatever, and does it feel like the NFT marketplace is getting diluted, even though it might not actually be? Or is that a weird
I mean,
question?
yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird question, but there's certainly a ton of competition. And um, I think I see like a lot of the more successful stuff right now being the things that maybe not are actually listed as NFTs. I know that our little niche market, there's tons of competition. I don't know. It maybe I don't know if it's getting diluted so much as people are finding out that the ecosystem isn't as large as people had thought. Which gets back to, I think, something that Boomer said about expecting everyone to show up saying like, oh, we're onboarding and everyone's going to come and they're going to save our bags. But in reality, we're all just selling to each other. And I think that's kind of the same thing. I think that if people could more successfully onboard from Web 2 and the outreach was better, that we would find out that it's not diluted at all. It's a challenge because it takes money.
So, quick little stats for anyone that doesn't know. I went over some of the bigger collections, and Sandbox raised 93 million on top of their land sales. Illuvium raised 72 million from their virtual land sale. Pixel Vault raised 100 million from VCs, and we know that recently with their Comic 3 Mint, they pulled in about 10 million for Proof Collective, Moonbirds, Oddities, Proof Collective, etc., raised 50 million, and then Bored Ape Yacht Club raised 450 million from seed funding. And obviously, there's more collections that have that, and it's the realization of holy crap. There's a lot of these that have massive amounts of money, and at the same time, a lot of these collections are kind of doing the same thing within staking, and that's going to be the final point today that I want to talk about. And JVB, obviously, you're on the council, or vying to be on the council with ApeCoin, so I might dig a little bit here, but I think
Whoa.
staking is going to be something that I think might shock the space and not necessarily a good way, because we've seen constant time over time where different coins, collections, whatever, saying, hey, we're offering staking. Guild of Guardians did that. The token ended up like crashing, not really holding up any kind of value. I saw somebody the other day that made a thread about how they put 69 ETH into Kill of Bears, and like one of the reasons was because there was staking that was involved with it. We saw today that Utes is now having staking involved with it. Is staking actually a good thing, or is it a Ponzi?
Wow, that was an aggressive question. Staking is and can be a good thing, but staking isn't going to be around for much longer, I don't think. I know like a lot of the stable coin staking options are drying up and going away. I think this renewed interest from the SEC is making people realize the legal complications of staking. So I think I don't know. I think it's short-lived personally. I think staking can be a good thing, but it really depends. I don't think it will save ApeCoin or Yuga or any other project. I think it's something that gets people excited about short-term hype, but real value, real price value, right, comes from growth, and that's not from staking. Staking, because you're letting someone borrow your assets, might help with growth, but real growth comes from putting out an awesome product and having people excited about it and having onboarding people and getting people to participate.
Well, I honestly think that that's one of the problems, though, is that people view staking because everyone has this kind of illusion of, okay, like I'm staking and this is going to accrue extra value over time because I'm not going to sell it. But at the same time, I've been a part of certain coins that have had staking where there's a lock on it, where you're not able to do it for like 30 days or something after you've initially locked. And that's where things get a little bit interesting. And where also we see, I think, some teams that are saying, hey, like we're offering staking as an incentive, when realistically it's kind of the easiest thing that they're able to implement the soonest, which gives perceived value to people, because again, everyone's kind of figuring this out as we go. So again, not a huge fan of it overall, but it kind of is what it is. But any kind of final thoughts as we kind of wrap things up here, JVB, regarding the NFT marketplace, crypto at all? Obviously, bad news about BlockFi, but at the same time, OpenSea adds Binance Smart Chain NFTs, so hey, maybe that gets you going today.
Well, first of all, my first thoughts are I'm an idiot. You've been talking about little bunny floofs for like 2 months now. And I kept being like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy some burrows. I'm going to buy some whatever. And I never actually did. And now I'm poor because I didn't make that decision. So you were right. Fluff World is looking great and strong. And I'm very happy for everything they're creating. The OpenSea Binance thing seems weird to me. It kind of scares me because I've seen CZ absolutely demolish a couple companies and a couple 100,000 retail investors because of a grudge. So if he goes after OpenSea now, I won't be surprised. I am going to Miami tomorrow for Art Basel, and I'm very excited to hang out with a bunch of friends and discuss the future of self-expression, of our true authentic selves in the digital space. And Bored Apes are awesome.
Love it. Chat Sooner, any kind of final thoughts as we wrap things up here, boss man?
If anybody's looking to get into Champions Ascension, let me know. I'll have those invites. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got to work on your enthusiasm with that.
Dude, man, I know it's crazy. Man, I'm just kind of sitting. I don't know what to say at the moment. I'm kind of at a loss for words. I usually think about everything after the fact. I do better when I ponder and then have something to say. Like I'm not good at quick responses.
Hey, you're vibing. No worries at all. I appreciate you coming up and giving some.
Schiller, how dare you put him on the spot like that?
I know, what an absolute crook. Blame the Canadians.
I volunteered to come up. It's all good.
All right, guys.
It's always good for a laugh.
I would love to play Champions Ascension. I think I've been in that Discord for months and months and months, but the floor price on everything just doesn't come down, and it's hard for me to
I think that's so not to derail here, but I think that's an interesting component of like, okay, for these different games, like with that one, you have to buy the NFT to be able to play it. So do free to play take over, or is it ones that like you have to like buy some kind of an NFT to experience?
Man, I think that you're going to have some sort of free to play option to really get people in. I think for the most part, I mean, you're going to want people, I mean, depending on what the price is, I mean, you get a couple $100 that you got to pay to get in, people aren't going to want to do that. But, I mean, a lot of people pay $60 for a game to play something, for a couple months to a year. I mean, I don't see it being that far-fetched to need to pay something. I mean, they've got other mints coming up as well that are free mints to be able to get in and play and everything, but they won't have the same perks as some of the earlier people.
Justin, you just said that people will be nervous to pay $100 to play the game. Guys, we got problems in NFT land if we can't get people to buy our bags for $100. Sound the alarm.
No, I said a couple hundred.
Yo, a couple hundred. I mean, hey, we can hope.
I mean, yeah.
We can help. All right, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget, next Tuesday, we're rocking it again, 4 p.m. If you're wanting to check out the link tree in my bio, it's got links to different socials. We'll have the rest of this up on YouTube at some point later this week. Appreciate the hell out of everybody taking the time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and we'll talk soon. Peace, peace.
See ya, everybody.